Dude, it's Saturday, man. It's been a long week.
All right, the video has recording started.
All right.
Yeah. All right. So the first question actually I was asking was that how all this started and how you guys met each other.
Yeah. So I'm not sure what how much Carl has shared, but I'll just start from the beginning. So Unimoon was really conceptualized around the beginning of 2021, and the vision was to create a truly decentralized social media ecosystem. So in order to do that, even the data that's stored would have to be decentralized as well. So I was originally looking at different options in terms of the way data would be stored on chain. So I was looking at IPFS, which was a big hit back in the day for around 2017, the ICO. It was probably close to $1 billion in total raised ICO funds. So naturally, I thought that this would be a great option to utilize. But just in testing, it was incredibly slow. So Filecoin / IPFS, which is Interplanetary File System, was not usable. And it's very important to be able to have that usability, because user experience, no matter what it is, even in crypto or mainstream technology, it's incredibly important that you have the ability to use and have that fluidity to be able to access data as you need. So in my search, I started interviewing a wealth of different decentralized cloud storage service providers. And it was one of these service providers that I had been interviewing that had recommended Carl and his team. And it wasn't until later down the line, after interviewing with other different enterprise blockchain development teams, that I realized that Carl was indeed the best fit. Just his background is impeccable. He has 20 years of development experience, specifically for enterprise fintech. And some of these brands, due to NDAs, we can't disclose, but 100% guaranteed you guys would all know them. So he has a really astounding background, and he has also just been a really good fit. We had a lot of conversations back and forth. I shared the vision with him, and yeah, he really picked up the ball and ran with it. We were able to have really great conversations beyond even just the technical components of it, but we had some really great philosophical, and we still do today, philosophical components about the entirety of the vision of Unimoon and what this really means as an extension of human interaction and human engagement. Because at the end of the day, this is what we're really going to be doing. It's redefining what an exchange of value is. Because if you date it back into the beginning of time, money is simply an exchange of value. So when you look at it from the beginning, the history of money, it was the start of barter trading. And then this became grew into precious metals, stones, and then gold. Now we see, after the gold standard, that it turned into dollar bills. And from dollar bills, now we're seeing this progression into cryptocurrency. So yeah, ultimately, Unimoon is going to be a greater way to help people realize value of their input, or their output rather, of their human energy that can be realized into a new form of an exchange of value. But this is how I met Carl. It was through many different interviews with different blockchain development teams. Carl and I must have met 4 or 5 times before I finally realized that him and his team at Censorship Media was the best fit to really become the blockchain architect and help me design the technical aspects of Unimoon. So as you guys all know, we're doing a layer 1. So we have our own layer 1 blockchain in addition to the mobile application development. And both of these are already underway. They're already being developed. So Yeah, Carl has been a paramount component to Unimoon.
Can we get more information on the layer one blockchain?
Yeah,
What's
Yep.
that in layman terms?
sure.
Yeah. So what we're looking at doing is providing our own mainnet, right? So obviously going through the software development cycle, we'll go testnet or devnet, testnet, mainnet. But the idea is that we want to, at least initially, for our MVP release and for the foreseeable future, probably the first 2 calendar quarters post MVP, we want to control the testnet. We need to control the backend layer one for a lot of reasons, right? So we're going to fork Solana. We did a lot of research, and frankly, Dale's been great, right? He's thirsty for knowledge, right? So he dives into all these technical topics. He takes on, I've seen him peeling through Solidity. I'm like, shit. So, he's not willing to roll up his sleeves, right? But what we did is, we looked at Substrate, we looked at Solana, we looked at Ethereum, we looked at Polygon. There's a lot of these layer ones and layer twos we've looked at, and just previous experience. There's no one size fits all blockchain network. There isn't, right? They all solve different use cases. And Dale was talking about Filecoin and IPFS, for example. Filecoin doesn't suck, right? But Filecoin, in my opinion, it's super academic, it's super early. They're doing some great research and great implementations on things. However, there's many commercial workloads, technical workloads that don't fit Filecoin's modality and architecture. They just don't, right? Arweave is a great example of another storage option, right? They have their technology and their platform fits NFT workloads very well, right? So my team and I were very much right tool for the right job. We're not religious when it comes to technology. We're not zealots or maxis, or we will truly try to find the best balance of fit, right? Because at the end of the day, you got to deliver, right? It's not just, are people willing to use the kit that you've developed? Are they finding value out of it and willing to transact value? And in Unimoon's context, that's attention, right? Are they willing to post media to it? Are they willing to consume media from it, right? So there's all these different requirements that go to finding the right underpinnings and the right back office services and the service mesh build out, all of that stuff. We want to control, at least for bootstrapping the project, we need to control the layer one, right? We need high transaction throughput. We need fast finality of transactions. We need to also plan out the reason we're not using just a bunch of web services and some backend databases for this. Like a lot of cases, you could use that where people think they want to use a blockchain. Blockchain's not a good technical solution, right? It's more smoke and mirrors. It's more marketing device than anything, right? Again, we're very much right tool for the right job. But what the plan is, the long-term roadmap is to build out that validator pool, right? And we'll bootstrap it as a team, but the idea is to grow that over time, right? Where other parties that may be diametrically opposed to our vision are able to contribute to the network, right? They're able to run node validators, et cetera, validate transactions, increase the security of the network. So we're looking at that kind of validators and channel strategy, and that's a good reason to use blockchain, right? You want to use your own layer one if you need to control some of the workflows and the governance and the consortia around who is actually supporting the underpinning of those backend services. So that's why we wanted to launch with our own layer one. We wanted to control we wanted durability. We wanted, if we needed to make fast configuration changes or updates and to bootstrap the project, we needed our own network, right? We couldn't rely on, there was just not a good fit, right? Even Solana's great. But the gas fees, they are still more than zero, right? And initially, because of the experimentation we're doing in some of these algorithms, we need to control what the Lampart quantity is for storing programs or storing data, et cetera. So we're going to be messing with a lot of the knobs and levers of Solana. Our plan is to not make core changes to Solana because we're going to be downstream as a project from Solana. So we want to absorb any changes that awesome teams, publishing and releasing. We're going to have smart contracts that live on Solana that really have our secret sauce. And it really eventually becomes a community secret sauce, right? So Yeah, but that's the reason why we want our own L1, right? Straight up is that we need control, and we need to make sure that we can deliver the best experience possible for the user community.
That was a nice answer, really nice answer. And I actually love that you guys are really taking care of what technology you guys are using, and unlocking value from any type of content. That's the best thing we can provide to social media. That's why we came up with the idea of decentralized media, or DeMe, in the term coin, which is on your website. I read something like
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Pioneering decentralized media.
Yeah.
We all know that decentralized finance has been one of the greatest use cases for blockchain and cryptocurrency, but it's not so relatable to many people. People still have difficulty just onboarding onto crypto, right? If you look at the global worldwide spread use of cryptocurrency, it's roughly 220 million. This is based on Statista. And if you look at the global worldwide users of social media, it's 4.4 billion. So this could essentially be a new on-ramp into crypto for anybody that uses any of these social media applications, anything that's familiar, such as TikTok or Instagram or Facebook. It would essentially be as easy as opening our application, Unimoon, and being able to function and use the blockchain without even knowing it, using our social media application. And so this is focusing on decentralizing media. So DeMe.
Yeah, and Dale, just to kind of riff on what Dale just said, one of my personal pet peeves about crypto is that I see a lot of attention and energy, in my personal opinion, being focused on the wrong areas that don't provide value ultimately to end users, right? I think in general, the cryptocurrency industry has a poor user experience, and a lot of people will say that, right? A lot of people that are much more experienced and wiser than I am about the stuff will agree with that, right? And I agree with them, but I disagree with them on what the poor user experience represents, right? To them, a lot of times, if you dig deeper, it's because the GUIs, the user graphical interfaces, are very poor, right? I don't believe that's the case. I think the GUIs are very good. And when you talk about kind of the broader user UX topic, it's the whole experience. It's a workflow. It's going from screen 1 to screen 2 to screen 3, et cetera, right? I don't think that's terribly poor. My pet peeve is with all of the inputs that are underpinning that user experience that ultimately are realized in your user experience, right? Whether it's MetaMask or whatever is, right? You need to deal with all these hex values and things like that. So what we're looking to do is do some very novel stuff with existing kind of modalities, right? We want to do a consumer and a retail centric application in the social media space, right? We want to kind of implement self-sovereignty, but at the same time, we don't, it's not a crypto project for cryptocurrency's sake. It's a decentralized social media project with a little bit of like crypto seasoning and salt and pepper, right? Just to get the best parts of the crypto technology and blockchain technology. It's not a huge blockchain project, in my opinion. And Dale may smack me for this. I don't see it that way. I see it as using the right pieces of blockchain technology in the background so the user never knows, right? And the right little pieces of self-sovereign identity and verifiable credentials and DID so the user doesn't know, right? And make it very easy to use and very easy for the user to onboard and log in with Google, and then they get a VC and a DID, and they're able to rock and roll in kind of the Web3 or Web3 plus kind of ecosystem, with decentralized technology. But the key is not letting them know, right? The fact that Dale has this thing about wallet seed phrases, right? And it's like how can we've kind of had some philosophical discussions around using different biometrics to seed phrases, et cetera, and doing that mapping and making sure grandma doesn't need to remember 22 words and all this crap. And it's like, and doesn't have to print it out on something and put it in our cork board. Like, these are the kind of conversations we're having, right? And the idea is that it's super easy to go out and just spin up Web3.js and put a little Vercel app out there, right? And write to a contract and read from a contract and that kind of shit. And it's like we're really trying to take the existing familiar stuff that everybody's doing day to day with TikTok and Facebook and IG and all this stuff, right? And just enhance it a little bit the way we see fit, right? This is part of the project, is what we decide is as a project and as a community is going to give the users a better experience from crypto technology, right? And it's not going all in with crypto, it's finding the most efficient pieces of the crypto ecosystem to introduce into an existing familiar experience.
Yeah, like transaction hash IDs, like this is just not pretty usable. It's people freak out with all these numbers and hexadecimals. It's not necessary for the end user in our social media application to have to see this or interact with something like this. So yeah, we've had some conversations with biometrics, how we could implement something that would be more usable, more focused around what the user experiences are currently interacting with on current social media platforms. But yeah, this is our focus. Our focus is making it frictionless and as easy as possible for anybody, for aunties and uncles all around the world to be able to use our application. And that would be really the key to mainstream adoption. Just allowing anybody that has no experience to cryptocurrency to be able to pick up our application and to be able to use cryptocurrency and blockchain, but without even knowing that they are. And I think that that's really the only way that we could bridge over into the mainstream, getting people to use the blockchain without knowing that they are using it.
Yeah, actually, I love the part where you said aunties and uncles understanding. So, actually, I'm curious to know that if there are any other projects which are closely related to what you are doing right now, or any potential competitors or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, like I've seen social media projects launching on BSC and things like this, but I don't know if they're really diving as deep as we are, really getting into like creating a full-on ecosystem, the way that the data is stored to a decentralized cloud storage service provider, building a layer one specifically to be able to control the test environment, and also for the future of the scalability, because this is also a very important point. Currently, social media is at 4.4 billion users. So what does that look like if there's, let's say, half of those users are using our social media application? What would that look like? 2.2 billion users on Unimoon, powered by the Unimoon blockchain. What would transactional fees look like? What would gas costs look like? Would it be congested? You know, these are also important things to be able to focus on and to be able to implement with the proper infrastructure from the start. So this is the type of vision that we're looking like at the big picture of what does this look like in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, when we actually have all of this fully implemented with a decentralized autonomous organization. So we're really just focused with our heads down, working very hard, developing the technology, and looking at what features are critical to really revolutionize and decentralize social media.
Yeah, and there's a couple others projects that I bumped into. Steemit's one that's been around for a while. They're again, none of these are square what we're trying to do, right? A lot of them build kind of form-based platforms. Steemit's one. Bat is another one. And Bat's from a great group, the Brave team, right? Works on Bat as well. Basic attestation token or basic attention token is, and a lot of these things are like little utility projects to how do you kind of work on kind of incentivizing and removing advertising, right? So that's what like Bat's for. Instead of paying with ad clicks, you can contribute and tip, right? Bat tokens, etc. So there's a couple there. Mastodon's another one. It's not really in the crypto space, but it's more of a federated social and collaboration platform, right? Which has a lot of interesting architectures in it as well. So again, it's, we're not just looking at the crypto ecosystem, right? It's really what else is out there. You look at Mastodon and Fediverse and that kind of stuff, and they're doing some novel stuff with kind of decentralized social, right? But they're not really focused on the media piece. They're not focused on, pimple popping videos and little, like, how do you make concrete countertop videos and, TikTok dance videos, etc. They're not doing that kind of stuff, right? Jake Paul's not on Mastodon, bumping around, the Fediverse. It's not that type of audience, right? We are really targeting the mass adoption. We're targeting something that's easy to consume, easy to interact with, and something that when the dopamine hits and you're flicking through videos every 90 seconds, right, is that you're getting some representation of that energy and attention that you're putting in, right? Is that you're interacting with it, but you're more of a part of that ecosystem, right? When you upload content, it's, you have more provenance of ownership around that content than you do uploading to TikTok servers, for example, or Facebook servers, right? You can upload all this content to Facebook and you can download an archive of your history, right? With all your photos and posts and all that stuff. They do that to check the box. It's really not usable. You can store it away on a USB, thumb drive or something like that. But there's not a lot you can do with that life cycle, right? You're using Facebook's app, you upload to Facebook's cloud. Other people can interact with it in your social graph, right? And there's really no way to loop it back around to you and for you to get value out of it, right? And that's really kind of what we're exploring, is that how do you create that positive feedback loop between contributing to a platform and having it come around and boost you up more? You want to contribute more and higher quality content. And it's how do you build that feedback loop? And that's really one of the core tenets of the project, is how do you make sure that, if somebody has a passion for something, how do you reinforce that positively? How do you allow them to really like bloom and explore that passion more, right? Yeah. And again, that's one of the core tenets of the project.
Yeah, so
really appreciate your answer.
What would happen is people would have this instant feedback loop. It would be like a 24-hour epoch cycle where content creators, and this could be anybody, this doesn't have to be an influencer, right? I hate that word. It would be anyone that has any sort of inclination to create, to be artistic, or to share a passion, or to explore some sort of idea. And we really want to be able to advocate and promote for these types of ideas, for people to have a platform where they get instantly rewarded for this. When I say instantly, I mean the rewards would be distributed within 24 hours. So within 24 hours, but that is near as instant as the network could provide, because it would need to gauge the other people's input and their energy that was evaluated within the network. So this ultimately will create more incentive for people to see, and that incentive would be properly motivating people to create better content, higher quality content, and they could try and test things out even more, even faster, because they would have this immediate feedback from earning a higher social activity coefficient. And the social activity coefficient is something that we've developed, which would be this on the smart contract layer, where the value that you accrue, so the piece of content that you're putting onto the network, that gets evaluated based on the engagement's velocity, which is the amount of times a piece of content gets played, shared, downloaded, at the rate at which it does get shared, how many times it gets shared, how many times it gets played, rewatched, what's the average duration, average watch time across the total amount of the engagements, likes, shares, comments, downloads, all of that information. That is what will create that social activity coefficient value for each user account. And that user account will now be able to see these rewards that would be automatically distributed within this 24-hour epoch time straight into your social media profile wallet. So that's how people are going to have this near instant feedback loop for the piece of content that you're putting out. So if a video does go viral, one video that you put out and it does go viral, within 24 hours, not only will you see that engagement on your page, but you will also be receiving our native coin Unimoon. You would get rewarded for that creativity, for that value that you have placed that has been validated by the people on the network, liking, sharing, commenting, downloading, rewatching. So that's how that would work in this ecosystem.
I want to add one more thing. Just like your answer, the project is also well thought of. And to maintain such an infrastructure, you must need a good amount of funds. So I seen that there's a private sale which just ended, and there will be one more private sale on
Yeah,
2nd
that's right.
November, if I'm
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
So how much funds were raised in the first private sale?
315 BNB. It was congested for about 10 minutes. So there was literally simultaneously like 500 transactions. I think it was like 500 didn't go through. And then as soon as one BNB went through, within 10 minutes, it was sold out. So we sold 350 BNB out in roughly 10 minutes.
That's
Now we'll have
awesome.
yeah, thank you. We'll have a second private sale, which is coming up on November 2nd. This will be for 650 BNB, and then followed by our public pre-sale, which will happen on Pink Sale on November 8th. This will be at 5 p.m. UTC. The private sale, the second private sale that is coming up here on November 2nd, will be at 7 p.m. UTC. But all of that information can be found within our Telegram at Unimoon Network.
Sure, we'll look out that thing. Well, just interested to know how the funds will be utilized.
Yeah, so the private sale funds will be used for marketing and for development. The public pre-sale fund, 70% of this allocation would be going to the liquidity pool on PancakeSwap. And then the rest of that is, again, marketing and development. Most of this is going to go into development, but we do need to increase our visibility as well within the actual crypto community. One of our marketing partners right now is Blockchain Pros, and they've done an exceptional job at helping create our visibility, helping work with our branding, and setting up banner ads for most of all across BSC for people to see us.
Yeah, this project is pretty much hyped. One more thing I want to know that about tokenomics, how the supply is being distributed, and what utility does the token having?
Yeah. So if you look at the Lightpaper, you can go to the website. But if you go to the website unimoon.io, you can see Lightpaper. If you click on the Lightpaper, you scroll down, you'll be able to see the exact breakdown. Yeah, it's spread out with team tokens, development, marketing, foundation, ecosystem, celebrity influencer. I think that's roughly about it. I can't name the exact percentages off the top of my head, but if you guys would like, I can go to the page and tell you.
No, that's I think that's okay. People
Okay.
will go to the website, and that's
Yeah, it's better.
just
You guys can just go to the Lightpaper and see it exactly broken down. I would like to mention that in the Lightpaper, we mentioned that we are going to be burning 20%. So that would be 400 trillion. We will actually be burning roughly 50% or more. Plus we have 1% auto burns every transaction. And the reason why there is going to be this discrepancy, we'll just make an update with like a Lightpaper update. But the reason why there is that discrepancy is because, like, for example, team tokens is 10%. But I decided that it would be best for us to just burn the team tokens and pre-mine these at Genesis on our layer 1 blockchain. That way we don't have to lock the tokens, and then we don't have to lock and migrate. And for me, it's more important that we successfully get to that stage where we successfully create the layer 1 blockchain and we have the ability to migrate. So all of my entire focus as the creator and founder of Unimoon is to make sure that we have a very successful launch, we have a successful migration, and we develop incredibly valuable products specifically with our layer 1 blockchain and the social media application. So yeah, those tokens, there's, for example, Foundation, it's 8.45%. This would also be burned and then pre-mined. Marketing, there's an 11.7% allocation. 2.5% of marketing will be vested and distributed through the Pink Sale platform after 45 days at launch, and then within 15-day tranches. Same thing with development. Development, there's a 10% allocation for further development. And we're going to take 2.5% of that again. So 5% total between marketing and development. And we'll have those released after a 45-day vesting period. So the rest of that 10%, so 10% minus 2.5% would be 7.5%. 7.5% of that further development allocation will be burned and then pre-mined, and we'll create, after being pre-mined, they'll be created and brought back at Genesis from our layer 1 blockchain. So 9.2% will be burned from the marketing allocation. So that there's roughly all these other tokens from the actual token allocation that we don't necessarily need right now until after we complete the layer 1 blockchain. So that's hopefully that shares a little bit more insight as to the way that this has been broken down with the 20% that's available on the site currently, and then the way that the Lightpaper is broken down. But if you guys look at the Pink Sale platform, you'll see that there's 50% that's already been burned, and that's the reason why.
Yeah, thanks for that detailed answer. And you also mentioned about the celebrity or something. They have some sort of allocation. So which type of celebrity endorsement we can expect from using that supply?
You know, I think once we get the actual social media application Unimoon at MVP, so once we release this, and we're roughly let's say 3-4 months away from MVP of Unimoon and our layer 1 blockchain. Yeah, I think that we would just go for the monsters of social media, like on Instagram and TikTok, and just get some of the biggest names to be able to rep Unimoon. And that's exactly what that allocation would be used for. Getting some of the biggest names in social media, like the biggest social media stars that have maybe like 20 million, 25 million, something like this.
That would be great. Let's talk more about the community of your project. So as per you, how much engagement is there in the community?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
I'm interested to know how you will comment on the engagement of your community.
What is the engagement of my community, or
Yeah.
what has been feedback?
Yeah,
What do you
what's the
specifically?
feedback, what's the engagement of your community to your project so far?
Okay, yeah, it's been, people have been incredibly excited. I think that people are ready. They're ready. Like the people that actually take time to dive a little deeper, read the Lightpaper, watch the videos that we've released. We have a few short 1-minute explainer videos, reading the Lightpaper, interacting within the community. They're incredibly excited because I think people have been waiting for something like this, right? Like the options that we have right now are Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We don't have a truly decentralized social media ecosystem. And these platforms, they don't value people as people. It's like another product on a shelf, and that's a problem. And I think people obviously know that. People know that, and people know that the data has been people's data has been taken advantage of. Privacy has been invaded, but at the same time, people don't have a better option. People hadn't had a better option. So to some degree, people are just, I think, okay, well, the whole world is on it, so I do want to have access. We are humans. We do have this inclination to socialize and connect. I mean, it's a part of humanity, but we are creating an alternative. We're leveraging technology to really increase the efficiency of human interaction and human engagement. So the people that really take a deeper dive into the vision and what we're creating, yeah, people are very, very excited.
Yeah, that's something people would love to invest in and interact with. So more interested to know how it all started, right from zero or whatever community members there were in the starting up to now.
Um, in the beginning, I literally would just go into different rooms and just introduce myself. I even went on Clubhouse and like talked to random people, and yeah, it was painful. It was a painful beginning,
Yeah.
but I was relentless because like I really believe in this vision. You know, it goes deeper than just creating a crypto project. It goes, it's something that aligns with me as who I am as a human being. It's something that I believe should already exist. There's technology for it, and we're not creating something like a time machine. You know, this isn't something that's like teleportation. This is just putting pieces together. It's like when you mix like bubble gum with mint for the first time. You know, it's like we're putting two things together. We're putting social media and blockchain together, and we're just putting two things that have been already validated, that we know that works. So yeah, I was just relentless, going out, talking to different communities, and that's how we got the ball rolling.
That's an amazing journey from pain to pleasure right now, as I can see.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I mean, I can't say that we're like perfectly just, you know.
It's
um,
still painful. There's no, we're still in the pain stage, right? So, and it's, the
until
grind.
yeah, exactly. We're still in the grinding. Like, there's a lot of work to be done. You know, like it's not just like, okay, great, we
Yeah.
sold out the private sale in 10 minutes. Wow. I mean, it's okay, on to the next step, right? On to the next step. And that is developing. It's making sure that the products work. It's making sure that we have the right functionalities. It's making sure that we can implement the right algorithm so that the videos and the content that people are putting out are going to get distributed in the most efficient and proper way. There's a lot to do. I mean, this is a lot of work, and to be quite honest, it's a lot of stress. But every day, I wake up very excited. Like I'm nearly like tap dancing out of bed because I'm doing something that I care about, and that's very personal and very important to me. And so it's not real. It doesn't really matter. Like, it's just it doesn't matter. It's just a point of what needs to get done. Let's do it. This is what needs to get done. Let's do it. On to the next thing. And until we create, and until we've migrated, until the application is out, until Unimoon is on the App Store, until the Unimoon Layer 1 blockchain doesn't have any issues, it's passed all the audits, we've done penetration testing, we know that it's secure, then maybe we can feel a little exactly. There's like even then, like maybe a little less, but it just doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. There's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah, and there's a lot of interesting stuff that one of the things that attracted me to the project, and talking with Dale early on, is that there's a lot of stuff I feel that can fall out of this project, right? Self-sovereign identity, right? It hasn't caught on, right? People aren't using SSI and W3C VCs to log into their Gmail account. It's just not happening, right? You're not using that to log into Facebook or Twitter. You're logging in with Twitter's username and password. You're logging in with Facebook. So there's a lot of interesting work that's been done in like the identity wallet space. It's just not realized. Nobody's using it at scale, right? So we bolt that on to a pimple popping video app, right? Or Kardashian powered app. I mean, that's the idea, is that we take these, it's almost drawing a little bit of inspiration from Satoshi's white paper, because, I feel that, and I don't know, I'm can only guess what Satoshi was thinking, right? Or what they were thinking. But there wasn't anything, you read it, and it's, especially if you come from computer science, none of the concepts that they talked about are new. None of them, right? Linked lists are, as a data structure, a blockchain is a linked list, right? With some cryptography put in for pointers, right? It's novel, right? And like when I got started, looking at blockchain stuff, I totally dismissed it as bullshit, right? I'm like, oh, this is, yeah, whatever, right? Until it got, critical mass and traction, in some use cases, right? Then I circled back and I'm like, oh, I took notice, right? And this was back in like the early 2010s, right? But it's novel. You look at it as a technologist, it's not new. He or she is taking existing stuff and pasting it together in a clever way, right? They took some PKI, they took some existing data structure, approaches, they pasted it together, and it's novel, and it's a big deal. It is, right? The market's proved it's a big deal. I'm not taking away from that at all, but I think there's other lessons in that approach, where you can take existing constructs, put them together in novel ways. You don't need to split the atom, right? You don't need to create time travel, right? You take some existing stuff and put it together in the right novel combination, and you get a ton of value out of it, right? So, and that's what this project is largely about. Also, there's a lot of interesting things and use cases that'll fall out of it as well.
Yeah, I can understand that, and I see that there's a lot of utility going on in the project. But as we all know that we also need marketing along with the utility. So interested to know what experience does the marketing team have in the marketing field?
Yeah. So as of right now, we've hired a professional marketing team that focuses on pre-sale and pre-launches. Currently, I am also interviewing with different post-launch marketing agencies, ones that focus more after the token has been established. Once there is a CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko listing, and also what I'm currently in the works of doing is creating a bunch of content marketing. So what that means is the plan is to come out with one video a week. And this would share more of the details about what is the problems within the industry, what is the solution, what is our vision, what is the history, and be able to show more transparently what Unimoon is all about, how it would potentially affect the industry, how it could potentially affect you as a user of social media or as a user of technology. And so we want to be able to create a series of videos which would be released every single week, and we would have all of this media dissected and shared within our social media profiles. And then we'll also be advertising more of this with one of the marketing agencies that I would finalize on. So currently in the works of interviewing and finalizing the details with whom I think would be the best fit to help us help take us to that next level.
That's really nice. Now let's
Can I-
move to some questions of the community which I have collected.
Sure.
Right.
So
Before
yeah, I filtered some best questions, and
from
the first one is
Oh,
when
hey, hold on,
Unimoon can
Brett, do you
be.
mind? Harry would like to interject real quick. He's one of our marketing partners.
Yeah, sure, sure, no problem. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Dale. Just want to quickly put one thing out there. So on all the usual suspects, you will see Unimoon. But the one thing that we've taken special care of, especially with regards to Unimoon, is that we are doing a lot of very popular media and PR. So you will see Unimoon appearing on Yahoo Finance and Benzinga, and also some of the other publications. And we're just going to start putting those contents out there tomorrow. And the reason why we think that's so important is because what Dale and Carl are creating is not an ordinary thing that you see in crypto on a daily basis, right? I mean, if this goes as planned, you're talking about him being the next Mark Zuckerberg. So, at some point in time, as a marketing agency, you need to think that, how do you create content, marketing content that would sort of resonate with the right kind of, I wouldn't say punter in this case, that's the word I usually use. So yeah, I mean, along with everything that you see with all the ads on, BSC Scan and Coin Market Cap and CoinGecko and everything else, we are also focusing quite heavily on content marketing and putting the right message out there. Just wanted to add that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. So let's come to community related questions. I have picked
Yeah.
some best questions from the community.
Great,
So the first
great.
question from it is when Unimoon can be expected on a big centralized exchange?
Yeah, this is not really our focus right now. Our focus really is just developing the products, and I'm sure the rest will handle itself. But we have already begun speaking with some really big centralized exchanges. We've already had some private conversations, but as of right now, our main focus is making sure we get to MVP, and we'll see exactly how the market reacts to that. But that isn't our initial focus right now. Our focus is on development, making sure we create an amazing product.
Sure. One more question. There might be a lot of disinformation going on social media, and it really affects people. Like it's really killing them. Some people are getting mental traumas and all. So how you will handle disinformation, violation of terms and regulations, or something like censorship in the content and everything like that?
Yeah, well, we will focus on censorship resistance. We want to create a censorship resistant environment, but we'll have some AI and ML processing. Later down the road, we could have moderators that help facilitate more of the AI and the ML processing on the actual network. But yeah, it's what we're going to do in the beginning is just have AI and ML processing that can pre-filter out certain content, certain keywords, certain types of videos, things like this. But we want to keep it as free feeling of a network as possible.
Really nice. Quick question. Can you explain the reward structure for the content creators in brief?
Yeah, so we touched upon this a little bit earlier on, but the internal contracts within our layer one are going to, they're known as the social activity coefficient. So these smart contracts are going to be identifying the social activity coefficient for every account user. Every account user puts up a piece of content. This content will get evaluated within the network based on the engagement velocity, which is the rate at which how many times it gets shared, played, downloaded, liked, and then the engagement's variety. So how many total likes, comments, shares, downloads it gets. And so it would our smart contracts are going to measure and put a value known as a social activity coefficient for each media object or piece of content on the network for an account user's profile. And then based on that, there will be an actual value at the end of the day. Based on that value, we will have a set amount of rewards that are rewardable every single day. So that'll just be the same amount. We have a reserve that will be set for a set amount of time, which is just the same amount of rewards every single day are available to be distributed to the total amount of users on the network. And that's based on how much value that you put onto the network. And that value would be distinguished and evaluated based on the social activity coefficient.
Really nice. One more question. Will there be any affiliate programs for people promoting the coin on platform?
Yeah, I think at a certain point there would be some sort of like additional reward system for bringing people on. But yeah, we haven't really dived too deep into that yet. Like I said, we're really focused on the actual just development of making sure that the smart contracts are built properly on and forking Solana and focusing on the actual mobile application development. So yeah, we're taking everything step by step here.
Just a minute. As you said, you guys can become potential competitor of the mainstream media platforms like Instagram or TikTok, right?
Yeah.
So it can stand out in the market even after having competitors who are there in the market for so long term. So what makes you different?
Well, we wouldn't be, first of all, we're not a centralized entity. The goal is like, the goal is not for me to become the next Mark Zuckerberg. I do not want this at all. I would at a certain point want to completely renounce this project and just essentially have it to the world. Decentralized autonomous organization is so that the entire network would be able to function and make decisions and operate without me or anyone else specifically directly from the core team. It would be so that it could be implemented so all the users of the network and on the platform would be able to have a voice that matters and that the network would actually adhere to for the total majority of the way that the network would make the decisions. We touch upon this in the governance section in the Lightpaper about a multi-body sortition, which would allow more checks and balances to be able to function within the decentralized autonomous organization. But that would be the true goal, to allow a truly decentralized autonomous organization and to be able to have this so that the network and the users of the network can help manage and govern together.
It's just awesome. Governance by the people, for the people. We already know.
Yeah.
So quick question again. It will be interesting to know where you see yourself in 1 year from now, where we can see this project.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a very exciting time. We would definitely already have our MVP out by then. And I've been in crypto since 2014, and normally we see these bull and bear markets coming through, which are somewhat reliant on Bitcoin halving cycle, right? And so I think in 1 year, it's a possibility that the crypto industry may be in a bear market. It may not be as bad as the ones that we've witnessed and experienced in the past, just because there is just a bigger level of adoption from mainstream institutions, from financial institutions, Ray Dalio and Paul Tudor Jones, and you know, we're seeing bigger people coming in talking about Bitcoin. But I believe if we were in a bear market, I believe that Unimoon would be potentially bear market resistant, because we're focusing on the mainstream adoption. We would essentially get to a place where we wouldn't be reliant on what happens in the crypto market. Once people are actually using the platform and they're uploading content and they're getting rewarded for this content, there's going to be a bunch of data, and there will be a rush of people to get onto this platform to be able to utilize the network so that they could actually now exchange their value for their human energy for monetary value. And that's going to be an exciting time, because people are going to use the platform. They're going to use the application. Unimoon will calculate these rewards and distribute them. And by doing that, there will be all this wealth of data. And what's going to happen is advertisers will want to come onto the network and access this data. Crypto or not, advertisers want access to data. And if it's good data and it can be extremely targeted and it's transparent and there's better KPIs, then any advertiser that functions with a business is going to want to use this data. The thing is, in order for advertisers to use this data, they will have to buy Unimoon. So this is one of the greatest utilities within the Unimoon ecosystem, is that anyone that wants to advertise and have access to this data, they will have to buy Unimoon and spend Unimoon to advertise on the network. But you will have unparalleled access to data, better KPIs, and essentially better KPIs, better data equals better ROI. So this is how I see, and the specific reason why this project in 1 year in a bear market would be bear market resistant.
Yeah, and one thing I want to add too is that aside from kind of like the forward-facing kind of market adoption in a year where we would be, is that we'll have MVP out the door, obviously, within the next 3 months. So Q1 of next year, we'll have MVP out the door. Now, I don't know the quantity of users, but we'll definitely be focused on innovation next year.
That's really cool. I like the part when you said it's bear market resistant. Along with that, it's pandemic resistant as well. People tend to use more social medias in the pandemic. So
Exactly. So
yeah, so
yeah, that's one of the beautiful things about this project, is that
yeah, so it can keep growing constantly, gradually.
exactly, and that's why I say, when you know, like talking about, oh, centralized exchanges and this, and we are focusing on the development, because that's where the real value is. We create the truly valuable elements by the real value comes from the development, and the innovation comes from combining these two components together with social media and with the blockchain. So this is where the value is. So this is where we put the most amount of our attention. And by putting our attention into the development, making sure that we test out all the bugs, and making sure that everything is working the way that we envision, then all these other things will come. I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, and from an innovation standpoint, once we have a platform and we have a kind of a critical mass of user base, because it's decentralized, because it's more community focused, it would be more analogous to having a Facebook or a TikTok, where the community DAO could actually vote on features, right? Being able to export data, being able to support different types of sovereign identification features, etc. If the community wants a new type of cat emoji, right? Or they want a new, AR filter for their video production. The idea is that we don't just innovate in the tech, we innovate in the application of the tech and the consumption and the prioritization, right? Really involve the community through the use of the smart contracts and the DAO to decide what the future roadmap is important. What's important, right? And it's, Dale mentioned the multi-body sortition model, right? Really going back in history and understanding what the benefits of different governance models are, not just to govern the entire network, but to govern the evolution of the network, right? What features and functionality does the team focus on, right? And specifically around innovation, right? What new tech does the community want?
Well, that was a really nice answer from you guys so far. I have asked, so I think a lot of questions, and you guys really answered each and every question really well. So it looks like I am running out of questions right now, and I don't want to take too much time from you guys. So before winding this session up, I just want to remind everyone that Unimoon can be that one-stop solution for your decentralized media. And I want to appreciate all the team who is being present over here and being so nice with our community. So thanks a lot for that.
Yeah. Thank you guys for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks.
All right.